Parliament's Mineral Resources and Energy Committee is visiting Witrantjies, a village in the northwest where illegal mining of chrome is taking place on an industrial scale. Now, the visit is a follow-up on the recommendations of the joint oversight visit on illegal mining report. Now, the report was adopted by the National Assembly in November 2022. Illegal mining hotspots, of course, in Gauteng will also be visited, and our reporter Bafedile Moerane follows that story for us very closely. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. What's the latest you can basically tell us there, Bafedile?
Well, Baron, basically the committee is here just to follow up, as you're indicating there, as to what progress has been done in keeping this matter of illegal mining, which seems to be escalating, in particular here in the northwest. So they were in Klerksdorp yesterday and to check what exactly is happening. We know at Klerksdorp illegal mining is very much rife in areas of Stilfontein and Orkney, among others, which leaves the community there having to live in fear, and because they are being terrorized by these illegal miners. But just not to waste any time, I will be joined by the portfolio chairperson, Mr. Sahlulele Luzipo, to give us the gist as to what exactly is happening. Mr. Luzipo, thank you so much for joining us here at eNCA. You were in Klerksdorp yesterday. What's the difference compared to the last time when you were here?
We were in Klerksdorp. I think the first thing we must say that our purpose of the visit is to look at whether is there progress that has been made since the committee oversight work that was done, especially last year. And one of the things that we had said was that all the departments concerned should not wait until such time the report has been passed and recommendations have been sent. Therefore, we're looking at them holistically, how far they have gone with the recommendations that we made, but also to look at what is it that we think can be done. We can safely say that when we're in Klerksdorp, one, the first mine where we went, which is a derelict and ownerless mine, we were a bit disturbed the fact that the structure has not been destroyed. You will remember one of the recommendations that we made was that there is a need to destroy, flatten that structure. We are not saying take away the mine. And we said the laws are simple. Even municipalities can destroy buildings that are being used as havens of criminal activity, especially when they no longer work. So that is the first thing. But at least we're happy with the fact that there is a commitment to make sure that those that are responsible for the mine, who still have that can still be tracked, they can be done. But we have said to the department, please move with speed just to flatten the structure, and then let's deal with the consequences of that. The second one, I think, is the one that will say there's a bit of progress. I think it's CAPC or something. The second mine where we went, which is a mine that initially we were told that the shaft was going to be destroyed. But now they've come back and said in the work that they've done, they've realized that there is a potential of getting some a commodity or some value for money. And on those bases, they are working now on a case study to see whether is there value for money. And if there's value for money, they are prepared to start the operation. The good part of it is that already one shaft, which is the one that is separating it from the Kopanong mine, that shaft, they say that that shaft has been closed successfully. They need now to open a new shaft, which is, they call it a waste shaft. That waste shaft is the one that will be used for people to exit. So we think that the mere fact that there is an intention to remine, to do remining in the area, but also to put the necessary infrastructure to make sure that it is balanced. And also the guarantee that they've given us, information that they've given us, that as far as they are concerned, which was the general manager, they no longer have any challenges of Zamazamas. Instead, now they pointed on the other side, on another shaft, I think the shaft 7. So in that case to us, it then says it is possible that in some instances, there is a potential to remine the area, and we think that with that commitment that they've made, the only thing now they have to look at is like renovation. If you renovate a house, you have to make a determination whether it adds value to renovate or you just destroy and build a completely new structure, and that's what they said they intend doing at this stage, to make that determination.
Well, just shortly, the Minister of Police, Bafedile, when he was in Rivali in Johannesburg, he had indicated that there are about 600 holes that have been identified across the country. That's the Department of Mineral Resources Minister who said that, Witrantjies. But do you think that the country is going to win, or this matter is just escalating?
It depends from where we come from. For instance, one of the things we have given a warning to the department was that, if you will recall, the phenomenon of the zama-zamas is predominantly in your gold industry. Now, one of the things we've said that if you look in your Limpopo area in particular, and where now probably we're going, you don't have zama-zamas. But the potential that is you drive them out of your gold mines, you will be driving them now to the chrome as well as platinum mine. And we've started to get reports, for instance, now that in Limpopo, Bakersford, there is some minimal of them. So we say, once we deal with the issue now, let's look at how do we avoid. But what is going to make matters worse, that side, is that even in this side of the gold industry, you are told that it's difficult to trace the past owners. Probably even if you find them, they may not be liable because the legislation did not put an obligation on rehabilitation. The problem this side is that people are mining without a mining right. And that means you cannot hold them accountable for something that they were never registered to perform. That is why we have made that recommendation that fast-track the process of making sure that even communities participate in their own local economies as in terms of the domestic market. But on the point that you are raising, it is, to our view, is that we need to broaden the scope. First thing you must, which is what we did, identify your immediate interventions that you need to make. In some areas where violence is very high, we said take a consideration of also calling from the army to assist the police to enforce the law. Unfortunately, we only make recommendations. How those recommendations get implemented is what we must do follow-ups. So that is one thing. The second thing is that you must do closure of these holdings. The problem with the closure of the holdings is not enough to talk about closing them, but also mechanics. For instance, I think what they've done in some areas is to put concrete, is to put the rubble and then put the concrete. But if you put a slab on its own is an invitation for illegal mining activities because they just dig on the side of the slab. So there are those short-term interventions that we say they need to be done, but they are long-term ones. For an example, as long as at a global level, you still have people who can buy second-hand gold and so forth, we say we must look at an international intervention so that you don't have a market for the gold. So look at the end product of the value chain and then be able to close there so that there's no market. Then if you don't have a market or the market is very strict, then we may be able to succeed.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Luzipo. This is the chairperson of DMR Portfolio Committee that is visiting the Northwest. They started there in Klerksdorp, Baron, and today they are in Rustenburg to a place called Witrantjies, a village just outside Sun City. So they are saying that they are positive that this illegal mining, which seems to be escalating, will definitely be halted and stopped going forward.
Right, thank you so much, Bafedile Moerane. Of course, just following that for us very closely, it is the Parliament's Mineral Resources and Energy Committee doing an oversight visit, those illegal mining hotspots in the northwest. Similar visit will also be held here in Gauteng. We know that Rivoli being one of those areas that's been plagued by illegal mining. But of course, the big question is, will any of these visits bear any fruit? But we'll definitely be talking to Bafedile a bit later as well about this issue.